When a black teenager stops to help an injured man on the side of the road, he never expects the act of kindness to turn his life upside down. But what he doesn't realize is that the man he saved isn't just anyone. He has the power to change everything. This is a story about resilience, gratitude, and how one selfless act transformed a family's future forever. Before we dive into this inspiring journey, let us know where you're watching from and if you believe in the power of kindness. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like William, a 17-year-old high school senior, was walking home from basketball practice one evening. The sun was setting, casting a warm orange hue across the sky. As he strolled along the quiet road, humming his favorite tune, he noticed something unusual. A car skewed off the side of the road with its hazard lights blinking. Approaching cautiously, William saw a man slumped against the car door, clutching his arm and groaning in pain. "Sir, are you okay?" William asked, his voice steady despite his growing concern. The man, middle-aged and well-dressed, looked up, his face pale. I think I broke my arm," he murmured. William immediately took out his phone to call for help, but realized the man's condition needed immediate attention. Acting on instinct, William improvised a sling for the man's arm using his hoodie and reassured him while they waited for the ambulance. The man, whose name was revealed to be Johnson, expressed his gratitude repeatedly. "You didn't have to stop, but you did," Johnson said, wincing through the pain. Little did William know, this simple act of kindness would set off a chain of events that would forever change his life. The next morning, William couldn't stop thinking about the injured man he had helped. Something about the encounter lingered in his mind. His mother, Sonia, who worked as a nurse at the local hospital, came home that evening with a curious expression on her face. "William," she began cautiously, "do you remember the man you helped yesterday?" "Yeah, the guy with the fancy suit. How's he doing?" William asked, genuinely concerned. Sonia smiled softly. "He's doing much better, thanks to you. But there's something you should know. He's not just anyone. That man is Johnson Lawrence." William's jaw dropped. "The Johnson Lawrence? The tech mogul?" "Yes," Sonia confirmed, "and he's incredibly grateful for what you did. He couldn't stop talking about how you went out of your way to help him." William was stunned. He had seen Johnson Lawrence on TV and in magazines, but he never imagined meeting someone so famous, let alone helping him in a life-threatening moment. That evening, an unknown number lit up William's phone. Hesitant, he answered. "Hello, William? This is Johnson Lawrence," a warm voice said. William's breath caught in his throat. Johnson expressed his gratitude once more, emphasizing how William's kindness had meant the world to him. Then, unexpectedly, Johnson invited William and his mother to dinner at his estate. William was floored. "Dinner? At your house?" "Yes. It's the least I can do to thank you properly," Johnson insisted. Though excitement coursed through him, William also felt nervous. He couldn't shake the feeling that this invitation was more than just a thank you. Little did he know, the dinner would set the stage for life-changing opportunities he could never have anticipated. William couldn't wait to see what lay ahead. William could hardly believe it as he and his mother pulled up to the grand estate. The sprawling mansion, surrounded by lush gardens and elegant fountains, was unlike anything he had ever seen. Sonia placed a comforting hand on her son's shoulder, sensing his nerves. "Relax, William. You've earned this," she said with a reassuring smile. The door opened, and Johnson Lawrence greeted them warmly. "William, Sonia, thank you for coming." He ushered them inside, where a lavish dining room was prepared with an extravagant spread of dishes. As they sat down, Johnson turned to William. "You didn't just help me, you saved my life. That road is rarely traveled, and without you, I don't know if anyone would have found me in time." William, feeling a little awkward, shrugged. "I just did what anyone else would have done." "Don't underestimate what you did," Johnson said firmly. "Most people would have driven past or ignored a stranger in need. You didn't." As the conversation flowed, Johnson shared stories of his humble beginnings. He told William how he, too, had grown up in a tough neighborhood and worked tirelessly to build his company. "Kindness and grit got me here," Johnson said, "and I see both in you." William was captivated. Hearing Johnson's story gave him hope that his own dreams weren't as impossible as they seemed. As dessert was served, Johnson leaned forward, his expression serious. "William, I want to do something for you. I see potential in you, and I want to make sure you have every opportunity to succeed." "What do you mean?" William asked, unsure where the conversation was heading. Johnson smiled. "I want to mentor you, teach you everything I've learned. If you're willing to work hard, I'll make sure you have a future brighter than you ever imagined." William's heart raced. This wasn't just a thank you dinner. It was the beginning of something extraordinary. William sat in stunned silence, the words Johnson Lawrence had just spoken echoing in his mind. Mentorship? Opportunities? It was as if all the struggles of his life had been leading to this pivotal moment. He glanced at his mother, who looked equally astonished but managed a proud smile. "Mr. Lawrence," William began, his voice shaky, I don't know what to say. I never expected anything in return for helping you." Johnson waved his hand dismissively. "Please call me Johnson. And I know you didn't do it for any reward, William. That's what makes this all the more important. People like you deserve a chance to thrive, and I'm in a position to give you that." William looked down at his hands, unsure of how to respond. His mother leaned in, her voice soft but encouraging. "William, you've worked so hard for everything. Maybe this is a break you've been waiting for." Johnson leaned back in his chair, observing the boy with a thoughtful expression. "Let me be clear, William. This isn't a handout. I don't believe in giving something for nothing. You'll have to work harder than ever, but I can promise you, the rewards will be worth it." "What kind of work?" William asked cautiously. Johnson smiled, sensing William's curiosity. "First, we'll focus on your education. I'll fund your studies and ensure you get access to resources that will help you excel. Then, I'll teach you the ropes of my business, how to lead, how to innovate, and how to make a difference." William's mother wiped away a tear, her voice breaking. "This is more than we could have ever dreamed of." William swallowed hard, the weight of the moment sinking in. "I won't let you down, Johnson. I'll do whatever it takes." Johnson extended his hand, and William shook it firmly. In that handshake, a partnership was formed, one that would change William's life forever. The following week was a whirlwind for William. He found himself in a world he had only glimpsed from afar, a world of tailored suits, high-tech offices, and endless possibilities. True to his word, Johnson had wasted no time in enrolling William in a prestigious private high school known for its academic excellence. On his first day, William couldn't help but feel out of place. The hallways were filled with students discussing summer trips to Europe or debating stock market trends. His thrift store backpack and worn sneakers stood out like a sore thumb. But Johnson had given him one piece of advice before dropping him off that morning. "Remember, William, you're here because you earned this. Be proud of who you are and where you come from." Taking a deep breath, William stepped into his first class. The teacher, a middle-aged man with sharp glasses, glanced at him and smiled warmly. Our new student. Everyone, please welcome William." The class gave a polite applause, and William nodded, trying to suppress his nerves. As the day went on, he discovered that while the environment was intimidating, the teachers were eager to help, and some students were surprisingly welcoming. After school, Johnson's driver picked him up, a luxury William was still adjusting to. "How was your first day?" Johnson asked when William entered the office for their scheduled meeting. "It was different," William admitted, "but I think I'll get used to it." "That's the spirit," Johnson said, clapping him on the shoulder. "Remember, challenges are opportunities in disguise. And speaking of opportunities, tomorrow you'll start shadowing me at work." William's eyes widened. "Shadowing you?" "Yes. If you're going to learn, you need to see how things work from the ground up, Johnson explained. William nodded, his determination growing. He was ready to embrace this new beginning with everything he had. The next morning, William walked into Johnson's company headquarters, a towering glass building that seemed to touch the sky. He had only seen places like this in movies, and now he was stepping into one as a part of its inner workings. Johnson greeted him in the lobby, looking sharp in a tailored suit. "Welcome to Lawrence Enterprises, William. This is where the magic happens." As they walked through the building, Johnson introduced William to key staff members. "This is Maria, my executive assistant. She keeps everything running smoothly," Johnson said. Maria smiled warmly and handed William a visitor's badge. The day was packed with meetings, presentations, and a tour of the various departments. William observed as Johnson led discussions, made quick decisions, and inspired his team with his vision. It was clear why he was so successful. Johnson had a natural ability to lead and bring out the best in people. At lunch, Johnson took William to the executive dining room. "What do you think so far?" he asked, slicing into his steak. "It's incredible," William replied, still processing everything he had seen. "I never knew how much went into running a business." Johnson nodded. "It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. And one day, William, you could be sitting at the head of the table." William's heart swelled with hope. For the first time, he could envision a future where he wasn't defined by his circumstances, but by his potential. As the day ended, Johnson handed William a notebook. "Write down everything you learn, every question you have. This is just the beginning, William. The real work starts now." William left the building that evening, his mind buzzing with possibilities. He was no longer just a kid from a tough neighborhood. He was on a path to greatness. Weeks turned into months, and William adapted to his new life with remarkable resilience. Shadowing Johnson had become a daily routine, and each day brought new lessons about leadership, problem-solving, and perseverance. William filled his notebook with observations, questions, and ideas, slowly piecing together a vision for his own future. One afternoon, Johnson invited William to sit in on an important board meeting. "You've been learning the ropes. It's time for you to see how decisions at the highest level are made," Johnson said with a smile. William felt a surge of nerves as he entered the grand conference room. The table was lined with influential individuals, each one exuding confidence and authority. Johnson introduced him, explaining William's unique journey, which drew polite nods and a few curious smiles. The meeting began with discussions on company expansions and potential risks. As the executives debated strategies, William noticed a pattern. Johnson was always calm, calculated, and strategic. He listened more than he spoke, and when he did speak, it carried weight. Midway through the meeting, Johnson surprised everyone by turning to William. "William, you've been observing for a while now. What's your take on the proposed expansion plan?" All eyes turned to him, and William's palms grew sweaty. But he remembered Johnson's advice. "Be proud of who you are and what you bring to the table." Taking a deep breath, he voiced his opinion. "I think the expansion sounds promising, but we should also consider the potential impact on smaller communities. Maybe there's a way to invest in local businesses while growing the company." The room fell silent for a moment before one executive nodded. "That's a good point." Johnson smiled proudly. "Insightful, William. Well done." That evening, Johnson pulled William aside. "You're not just observing anymore. You're contributing. Remember, you have a voice, and it matters." As William grew more confident in his role with Johnson, he began to face challenges that tested his resolve. Balancing his studies at the private school with his responsibilities at Lawrence Enterprises was no small feat. There were nights he stayed up late studying, and mornings he woke up early to prepare for meetings. One particularly tough day, William bombed a chemistry test at school. Frustrated and disheartened, he arrived at the office feeling defeated. Johnson immediately noticed his slumped posture. "What's wrong, William?" William hesitated before confessing. "I failed a test today. I feel like I'm not good enough for all of this. Johnson leaned back in his chair, his expression thoughtful. William, failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a part of it. Every successful person you see has faced setbacks. What matters is how you respond to them. Johnson shared a personal story about a failed business venture early in his career. I could have given up, but instead, I learned from it. And that's what you need to do. Learn, adapt, and keep going. Motivated by Johnson's words, William doubled down on his efforts. He sought help from teachers, formed study groups, and stayed focused on his goals. One evening, Johnson handed him a book titled The Power of Resilience. This helped me during tough times. I think it'll help you too. William devoured the book, finding inspiration in its pages. Slowly but surely, his grades improved and his confidence returned. Through these challenges, William realized that growth wasn't just about success. It was about overcoming obstacles and finding strength in adversity. He was no longer just a teenager trying to get by. He was becoming a young man with a purpose. As William continued to thrive under Johnson's mentorship, his story began to gain attention within the community. Local news outlets picked up on the tale of a black teenager who had saved a stranger on the side of the road, only to discover that this man was a wealthy and influential leader. The headlines read, "Kindness changes lives. Teen selfless act leads to a brighter future." William was initially overwhelmed by the attention, but Johnson reminded him that his story had the power to inspire others. "Your journey can show people that one act of kindness can change everything," he said. William's newfound visibility came with opportunities. He was invited to speak at schools, community events, and youth centers. He shared his experiences with honesty, emphasizing the importance of compassion, resilience, and dreaming big. Helping someone isn't about expecting something in return, William told one audience. It's about doing what's right and trusting that good things will follow. Meanwhile, Johnson continued to involve William in more significant projects at Lawrence Enterprises. They launched an initiative to provide scholarships for underprivileged youth, with William serving as its ambassador. But not everyone was supportive. Some questioned Johnson's decision to mentor William, while others doubted William's capabilities. Their skepticism only fueled his determination. One evening, as William and Johnson reviewed the scholarship program's progress, William said, "I used to think my future was limited. Now I realize it's only limited by what I'm willing to work for." Johnson smiled. "That's the spirit, William. Remember, you're paving the way for others, just as someone once paved the way for me." The day finally came when William stood before a packed auditorium at the inaugural ceremony for the Lawrence Youth Foundation. The scholarship program they had worked on for months was officially launching, and William had been chosen to deliver the keynote speech. Dressed in a crisp suit, William stepped up to the podium. He looked out at the audience, seeing faces filled with hope, curiosity, and admiration. Taking a deep breath, he began. "Not long ago, I was just a kid trying to get through life, wondering if my dreams mattered. But then one moment of kindness changed everything," he said, his voice steady and full of emotion. He spoke about the day he found Johnson injured on the roadside, the journey that followed, and the lessons he'd learned. He thanked Johnson for his mentorship, his community for their support, and his family for their unwavering love. "Today isn't just about me," William concluded. "It's about everyone who has ever doubted their worth or felt like their circumstances defined their future. You have the power to change your life and the lives of others. All it takes is courage, kindness, and a belief in something greater." The audience erupted into applause, and William felt a sense of fulfillment he'd never known before. As the event wrapped up, Johnson pulled William aside. "You've come a long way, William. I couldn't be prouder of you." William smiled. "I couldn't have done it without you. But this is just the beginning." And it truly was. With his heart full of gratitude and his future full of promise, William was ready to take on the world, knowing that one act of kindness could indeed transform a life forever. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoy the story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.